Nice viewer out there to have you here again on the Economy Today, here on the favorite, the Neighborhood TV, reaching you live from our humble studio here in Port Harcourt. As we will always say, Port Harcourt is Nigeria's most beautiful city. It is the Garden City. Today in the studio here, we are going to discuss a trending story, but on the business angle. And that's why I have in the studio a popular and seasoned business editor, one of the finest you can find in Nigeria. He is the regional editor for Nigeria's premier daily business newspaper, The Business Day. I am talking about Mr. Ignatius Chukwu. He's in the studio here with me. Mr. Chukwu, welcome.
Thank you very much, Becky. Thank you, Port Harcourt.
Today we shall be taking a look at the economic cost of the Biafran agitation. First, I will ask him to tell us the landmarks or the boundary of Biafra, and then we'll move into the economic aspect of the agitation. Most recently, there has been this face-off between the Nigerian military and members of the IPOB. IPOB, I'm sure you know, is the indigenous people of Biafra, led by Mazin and Kano. Let me begin by asking you, Mr. Chukwu, which area of Nigeria makes up Biafra?
That question is we can attempt to answer it because we are discussing economy of a region, and therefore you will understand the boundaries of that region before you now aggregate what they do economically. Unfortunately, in attempting to explain that, you will be driving into a very controversial aspect of the agitation, and that's to say, which part is Biafra, which part is not Biafra. I think I might find it difficult to give a set answer, because that is even what we think should be determined by a referendum. Saying the parts that are Biafra will require a referendum to determine. Because if Biafra is being defined by those, that's why some of us who, the first question we asked was, whoever is agitating for Biafra, please can you show us the map so that we can know who is in and who is out. When we see the map, we will also say, are the people, the leaders of those areas, have they at any point come together to agree that we are part of this proposed Biafra? So that you can now take off from there to say, okay, we have said we are Biafra people and we are asking for Biafra. So that question was yet to be answered, and therefore it is difficult to now say for any individual to sit back in his parlor and say this is Biafra territory. If you go by the former Biafra war, and you say all those who were in that former Biafra, the Biafra of today, a large chunk of those people are saying, a large chunk is saying, we are not Biafra. And therefore, only a referendum can determine those who are in or out. Then if you now go to the core SOUT-EAST states that are officially regarded as Biafra, you talk about Imo, Abia, Anambra, Enugu, and Ebonyi. Then those ones are regarded as the core the SOUT-EAST. So we do not know whether you are saying the SOUT-EAST is the real Biafra, or whether you are saying SOUT-EAST plus some other areas. So those who are agitating and those that are going to, they need to resolve that. When they resolve, they tell us. It will be difficult for one person to say that.
Okay, if we suppose that the southeastern states make up this Biafra, this proposed Biafra, then would you, with your economic eyes, say that there is a economic cost to so far what has happened in the country?
Yeah, you don't even need to have economic bias.
Okay.
You don't need to be an expert to know that there are losses, and there will continue to be losses, and damages. See, agitation goes like this. You start a struggle. You are ready to sacrifice some of what you already have, hoping that when you win, you get back what you had and get more. That's the thinking of an activist. That's the thinking of those who agitate. So nobody can say, even those who are agitating, nobody can say that you can carry out a struggle without first recording losses here and there. The only thing anybody can be talking about is fair losses, fair risk, the principle of fair risk. When you take drugs, you know that the drug will damage some part of your body, cause you some side effects. You are hoping that when you get better, that what you will gain by staying alive will be more than what you lost, damaged by the drugs. But when the drug becomes so toxic that what you will lose will be greater than the life itself, or that drug will rather cost you your life, you will now realize that it is of no use taking the drug that will take your life, because the essence of the drug is to prolong your life. So if you now take the kind of drug that will destroy that life itself, then you no longer, it becomes unreasonable. Therefore, there are visible economic costs. There are visible business losses going on already, and that may continue to go on, both in tangible measurement and in intangible measurement.
Now, these 5 eastern states that you named, Abia, Ebonyi, Anambra, Imo, and the Enugu states, which could be taken to be the core of this agitation. Okay. Could you give us an idea of what their GDPs, each of them is? Could you?
Yeah, to understand how the agitation is going to affect or is affecting those areas, it's good to review their GDP. That's to say, Nigeria is said to be worth $500 billion as a GDP value. Okay. After the rebasing, before the recession came and reduced us to barely below 400. But the latest is showing that we are now hovering about 450 to 470. Okay. So if the size of our economy is say $470 billion, that's the size of our economy in the formal sector and the calculatable sector. If that is our size, you will be asking yourself, what is the size of this area trying to live? What do they contribute GDP wise to the economy? We are talking about say 36 to 37 billion dollars. $37 billion out of 470. That's the value. The highest, when they rank all the states, Imo State is the highest ranking economy in the Southeast. They are about 14.something billion, Imo. They are followed by Abia. And if you watch, those two states have a touch of oil. Okay. A touch. Yeah, yeah. So I don't know whether that's the reason, but for the main part, at least coincidentally, they have a tip, a touch of oil. So the GDP, 14 point something billion, Abia follows with 8 point something billion. Then Enugu begins to come a distant third with about 6 billion. Then Ebonyi is the last with 2.7 billion, their GDP. So it's between 14 billion to 2 billion, 2.7 billion. That's the ranging of the Southeast states. So when you put them together, let me see where Anambra is. Anambra is third with 6.7. Yeah, Anambra is third. So Imo, Abia, Anambra, Enugu, Ebonyi. And you can see the far away they are to the ocean, the more their GDPs drop. But the nearer to the ocean, the higher their GDPs. So that's why Lagos is the highest with 3 point something billion, followed by River State with 21 point something billion, and it goes on and on and on. So if that's the case, so if you put them together, the Southeast, the core Southeast, they will be giving you 36 billion as their GDP. So out of 470, you remove 36 billion. So that's what they will, so their contribution for now, it has been. But you see, it will be erroneous to use that GDP alone to weigh their strength. One, the GDP ignores a chunk of the informal sector, the unrecorded sector. So often it ignores it. So it may not capture the real performance because of absence of public sector contribution. Because it's one region that hardly has serious public sector presence. So it affects its calculation. Two, there's what we call the resident economy and the mobile economy or the foreign economy. We realize that the indigenes of these states, their best is abroad. Their best brains, their best professionals, their best. If you go to some cities in South Africa, you think it's a Southeast city. You go to Canada to the Canada Space Station at a point. But Dr. Ponongo, who is a Benue State man, told us at one that the language they speak in NASA in Canada, their airspace center is Nnakedu. They speak Igbo easily in Canada airspace. That's highly strategic place. Then Nnakedu there almost sounds like they are the second tribe there and others. So that's where he met important person. He brought the first man that was the general manager of Ajekuta. He brought him from the Canada Airspace Center. Very important brains scattered around the world. So how do you calculate their contribution to the economy? People who drive economies elsewhere. And some of those states you see in the GDP ranking of Nigeria, who are the drivers of those economies, those foreign economies? If you go to Gabon, what is their language? You see Nnakedu struggling in Gabon. The informal sector of Ghana, who is driving it? All the transportation going out around West Africa, who are the drivers? Who are the people pushing goods around West Africa? So where do you calculate their economy? Is it into Ghana, into Ivory Coast, into Gabon, into Kaduna River State, or do you calculate it into Imo Abia? So you see, that's why I say that first ranking is correct. So that's why in any issue, you have the fact, you have the truth. Fact is correct, truth is correct. So it is when you are mature, you begin to differentiate the difference between fact and truth. Therefore, so the facts are on paper that their economies are low, quite all right. They are contributing only 36.7 billion into 470 billion. But check it outside. So that's one interpretation I want to make there. And therefore, this economy we are talking about, this Southeast or this Biafra economy, if you want to go down it, economy we are talking about, is not made up only of the home economy. Okay. You have to look for a link between the home economy and the foreign economies where they play important roles. If we say Nigeria doesn't have enough doctors, they will say that Nigeria has over 30,000 doctors in the US. Where are they from? Most universities in the US, who used to carry first? In Harvard, who are those pushing for first and second? Sometimes Nigerians will carry the first 1, 2, 3 in the entrance into Harvard. Check their surnames. You have a link with Biafra. Azana is directly sounding Biafra or close to Biafra. So when you calculate brilliance, how do you? The most intelligent family in the UK, the Emafidon, they are from Edo State. They are not British, but they are the number one the brainiest family in the UK, in London. They are from Nigeria. So will you count them at Nigeria? No. In Nigeria, they say we are not brilliant. In UK, a Nigerian family will be the most brainy UK family. So how do you really separate us from what we do? So then when you calculate diaspora lodgement, every year foreign money people send home to their parents, to whatever, to help their families. Nigeria will be repatriating over $20 billion a year. So that, during the recession, it came down to about 10 billion, shooting back now to about 15 billion. So what does that mean? people who say abego $1,000, abego $5,000, $3,000, small money, but because you cannot send money from abroad to anywhere without it being recorded. So every year they mention how much that enters into Nigeria from small family members. So people of that, the so-called people of Biafra, almost every out of 3 families, 1 person is abroad. There are some clusters in that enclave where every family has somebody abroad. Every family, 1 person abroad. So that 1 person abroad, his total income in a month may be more than the total income of the other four or five brothers who are in Biafra, who are in Nigeria. 1 person's income from outside changed to in dollar. When they change it to naira, it becomes heavy. So you see mansions upon mansions upon mansions, erecting mansions that are earned from outside the Nigerian GDP. Therefore, Nigeria at a point, when the dollar was very down, when we didn't have foreign currency, Nigeria was depending heavily. Oil and diaspora remittance were struggling to equalize. That the new hope of any money was the money families were sending to their people. When they pass it through central bank, comes as dollar, we now quickly change it in our naira into dollar. It began to help us to even get some liquidity in the foreign exchange because of the money coming from individual families entering Nigeria. So you can see their contribution. And every year they release the amount that foreigners, foreign people, our brothers abroad sent. Nobody has done a research to show when this money flies in from abroad into Nigeria, do they head north, south, south-south, south-east? I haven't seen the figures. But bet me, if anybody should study the wave of the flying dollars into Nigeria, something tells me that that region that produces a high exodus of people to outside will also be the region where this money coming in will come from. And when you watch how they spray money at weddings, the region where they use dollars, I watched one video, I don't know whether it's true or not true, where they will spray money, say the dollars will form ocean. The dollar I'm looking for will become ocean on the ground. And if you watch, it happens in one particular part of Nigeria. So if people there can use dollars to flood a whole compound, nowhere to match in dollars, it shows you where the dollars are coming from. Those who are earning, there's the professionals that are earning, doctors, businessmen that are earning dollars into Nigeria. It comes mostly from one zone. I didn't say one tribe, or one zone. And therefore, I'm therefore ending that section by saying that that part of Nigeria that is agitating for a separate state, in size they are small. In GDP, I consider it small, 36 over 470. But the other things they earn that are not factored or calculated into them. The last population census, they say, no, don't ask anybody about his tribe. So wherever you are, you register your population, your name into that state, so that they will now know the population of Nigeria state by state, no more tribe by tribe. So you see, but that means, but when they used to give tribe, but when they announce it, you see that the tribes, people from that southeast, they will be boosting populations in other parts of Nigeria. They will be contributing to the population boost there. And they may look small at home, but you go abroad, you see a whole city. While those the northerners, while they occupy one small street in the east, I say this side is where you get this tribe. You go to the north, you see you see southeasterners taking over, occupying an entire city, which they call Sabongeri. They occupy entire cities. So how do you calculate the population? So you don't know, if you don't separate tribe, if you don't factor tribe into the population census of Nigeria, you will not know the real population of that tribe. I'm not saying it from a social point of view. I'm driving to the fact that it will be difficult for you, therefore, to calculate, to factor in their economic contributions in figure, because those things are muffled into other geographical zones, muffled into other populations. So it becomes difficult to factor. But how you will know is that whenever they are registering election votes, you will see APGA, that is seen to be a party of the Southeast. You will see you see voting pattern in Kano, voting pattern in Kaduna, Abuja, when you see APGA vote, you will suspect that the voters are from so area. So from there, it begins to give you population relationship between the winning party, their vote, which will be the indigenous vote, and this settler vote. They know that their vote won't win election, but they vote APGA. So when you look at APGA vote, it gives you a population spread of the Southeast or the Biafrans. You see when the Biafrans are voting. Okay. And then finally how to know where they are and where they play economic roles. When it is time for Christmas and people travel, I think they say even a layman will use his eye to know the population impact. So these are, I'm suffering to say all these things because I'm saying in the absence of figures to justify their populations, the distributed population of those agitators in other parts of Nigeria, in Lagos and other places. Of course, you know that in a place like Lagos, they produce lawmakers on a consistent basis. They produce commissioners on a consistent basis as a reflection of their economic power, as a reflection of their population in those areas, not in a negative sense. So that's how to identify the spread of their economic activities.
One of the fears expressed by some persons in the course of this agitation had been that the Igbos have a lot of assets in the north. And so this Biafra agitation could damage all those their assets, their wealth. If I may ask, how, from your experience, how much do the section that the people are getting for this Biafra, how dominant, if that's a permissible word, how dominant are they in the northern economy? Let me restrict myself for now to the northern economy. I'll come to the other sections.
Okay. I was in a vehicle many years ago when the flare came up many years ago, and they were discussing this matter. One northerner said in the vehicle, an ordinary looking northerner, he released figures of the number of Igbos in the north. I was shocked. He released the number. I've forgotten what the numbers he released. Even if he was lying, my brother, for him to even know a lie, where we didn't even know anyone at all, we will manage his lie, if at all he was lying. But you could see a very big proportion gap. Let me say the gap will be like something like 1 to 20. Mm-hmm. The gap between South-Easterners in the north and the Northerners in the south, in the South-East. I'm talking about in terms of volume, not in terms of quality of the human beings. Let's leave quality to God. So they won't say you are measuring human beings by quality. After all, a prince in heaven, the life of a prince is equal to the life of a gate man. So let's leave that aside. But in volume, the number is like 1 to 20. Okay. Which means if you kill all South-Easterners in the north and kill all Northerners in the South-East, it will mean like when you kill 20 Igbos, you kill 1 Northerner. That's the relationship. And that's what that man was trying to point out to us. They have we cared to take census. How they did census there, I don't know. But have you cared to know how many of their people in the east and how many of our people in the east that are there? So that if you say kill your own side, let's kill our own side. Is it comparable? The man warned us about 10 years ago. So I became scared by that prospect, that calculation. I became scared. Because in the physical sense of it, if you go to the north, any market in the north, the Igbos will be struggling for equality of the market with the Hausas. 1 Hausa trader, or 3 Hausa traders, 2 Igbo traders. 3 Hausa traders, 2 Igbo traders. In some areas, Igbos will overtake. It's important. Then you now come to Onitsha and Aba. Apart from on the main road where you see onions and yams, I don't see any tangible shop in Ariare that is owned by a Northerner. Anytime Joshua. So the main road, you say, Hausa plenty here because you have seen them on the road. So, but if you go to the north, in those their markets, those who will buy from, when they say they have 5,000 shops, so the Igbos that will apply for shops there will be 10,000. Then they will use the indigenous and non-indigenous factor to reduce the number to about 3,000. Then their people about 2,000. That's the market. So, if you ask me, the volume of wealth created by Igbos is huge. You now go outside buying and selling. You go to real estate and tangible investment. What our Igbos call, when you are running, you leave it behind. Nobody carries his building when running. You see, there's a pattern of reasoning of Igbos. First of all, they follow Abraham Maslow's theory, hierarchy of need theory.
What does the theory say?
It says that there are things that you will be in a hurry to need, but that as you satisfy every need, as a layer of need, if you satisfy it, that another need will just crop up. You struggle to satisfy that need, another need will crop up. That is to say, if you arrive from a travel now, or you arrive in a new town, you come out of the train or come out of the vehicle, the first need you have, say, where can I get food? Brother, is there anywhere they sell food here? So they manage to help you, you get food. When you eat, say, you cannot allow me to sit down for veranda here and rest small. Another need, before na hunger, having eaten, you need some rest. After resting, you say, don't be offended, where can I pass a night? Shelter. The need for shelter crops up. When the shelter is satisfied, they begin to allow, so you can be sleeping here now for some time till you get your own house. Thank you very much. You know, I see the kind of cloth I wear. I hold me with how can I be dressed like this? You begin to have need for prestige. Okay. So this needs will be going until a time will come when you'll be dragging for chieftaincy title in another man's land. You will now need that if Benfa have all built houses, why can't I build a house? So the Igbos follow Abraham Maslow. They follow him to the last chapter. Other tribes I noticed, they follow to a point where when they solve and reach to the area of building house, they remember to go and build at home. But our people, when they follow Abraham to the last time, when it's time for the hunger for house, they buy land and build house. When it is if the hunger to marry comes, they don't mind marrying there. If you don't take time, if the hunger for chieftaincy, they drag it there and become chief. And before you know it, you have Ezigbo, Kaduna, Ezigbo, Sokoto, Ezigbo. So the hunger, but when the man who is Ezigbo there, when he came to that time, his first hunger wasn't to be Eze in that place. But you see, he keeps responding to Abraham Maslow's arrangement of the needs until he becomes a chief there. And by that time, his children are married to the indigenous on that side, his own daughters are married out, his own sons are married in. Do you know that the Sultan of Sokoto, Abaka Sadiq, the first, when he was dying, I don't know whether it's correct to say this or is Anuma man, Alhaji Okoro, that he confided in about protecting the assets of the Sultanate, protecting it for his own section of the Sultanate. Say, please, this is my son that went to study. When he comes, guide him. That man, that Alhaji, was older than even the man talking to him, let alone his son. He became the custodian, the center of knowledge, the library of the place. If you do your eye, if you use eye, give you signal, you will survive. He became so knowledgeable in that place. And if I want to ask you, during the war, did you hear much killing of anybody in Sokoto? All the riots and killing. His involvement in the Sultanate, his relationship, his intermarriage and other things. He even gave him one of those titles. He became a titled person governing over all settlers. During the war, they told him what to do, and he did it well. And there's no record of any single Igbo head that fell in Sokoto. Why? Because of the consistent participation of one man, growing from generation to generation in the Sultanate, becoming so important and so revered that he became an asset. And how did the Igbos benefit? He told them what to do. They did what they were told to do. Nobody was killed. Nobody's property. After the war, they came up and continued their lives. So you can see that that's the type of lifestyle they have. So this lifestyle also allows them to build economic power. I therefore ask, this economic power, is it not threatened now?
I was coming to that, sir.
Okay, ask me that.
Doesn't this agitation that's going on in the South-East and overflowing into the South-South, particularly River State, is it not a threat to these economic assets of these proposed Biafra? You know, people from that area, is this agitation not a threat to all these narratives you have given, which are stretched over decades?
Over decades.
Yes. Is that a threat, a real threat?
You know, first of all, I support the agitation. Not first of all, I'm an Igbo man.
Okay.
I'm from the South-East, I'm from Imo State.
Okay.
2, I support presenting an agitation that is not violent, that articulates what our people say is wrong. In the first sense of it, all ethnic groups in Nigeria are all saying the same thing, that the structure of Nigeria is not right. So it's not even a unique agitation by one side.
Okay.
Basic. Now, having said that, I'm also supporting the fact that you are free and right under the law and under the constitution to articulate and present your worries.
Okay.
I also support that. 1, there's reason for agitation. 2, there's the need for articulation of that agitation. That's where my escort stops. If you want that agitation to be that it should involve bloodshed, it should involve violence, it should involve setting up an army, if it should involve provoking a Nigeria, in quote, that you don't even look. Our people thrive in proverbs. Okay. And our people say that lizard recognizes the man that is carrying a stone to stone it. Lizard likes to recognize, so that lizard knows who wants to stone him. Now, my brother, if lizard who didn't go to university is intelligent enough to know who wants to stone him, lizard that's not urbanized, is not educated, is not civilized, he has already grown the intelligence to shift. When you carry stone, he will not. Man looks like he wants to stone me. He begins to arrange his position for defense. If lizard can be so wise, I was thinking that human beings should also be at least wise, if not wiser than Mr. Lizard. And therefore, what does that mean? Making your demand and your agitation, making it violent, you should be asking, are you in a position to prosecute a violent relationship? Are you in a position to rock the boat? Are you in a position? So if you don't know what you are worth and what you have, you can easily allow stone and egg to do karat. You carry egg, I carry egg, you carry stone. Then when we meet, I say, you too find my trouble. I quack you. You carry stone and I'm carrying egg. Our people like parables. And when they speak those parables, they don't want to explain further. So, I'm not saying Igbos carry eggs, but I'm saying if you have a high number of people, you have high volume of investment outside your area of control, would you be the first to start a push between egg and stone? Would you be, if there is constitutional amendment, would you be in the forefront of saying, look, the greatest problem of Nigeria is that we are pushing indigenship, and then we are not without pushing citizenship. So what we now know is that I'm an indigene. People struggle to qualify to be indigenes of a place. And when you hear people denouncing and saying, I'm not Igbo, I'm not from the South-East, I'm not this, check well, they don't have anything wrong with that tribe. What they have wrong is that they want to assume a tribal name that will qualify them more for opportunity. Therefore, wherever opportunity is brighter, you adjust your name small. Or if you can't adjust it properly, you confuse your name, so that when they can't recognize where you come from, you cannot say you are from this place. Therefore, I was thinking that we in the Southeast, we should be pushing in any constitutional amendment to say, let us share, let us get access to government, let us have access to public things through citizenship, not through indigenship. Because it is indigenship that will disqualify Southeasterners, because they are travelers, because they are always under man's land. So indigenship will block them, while citizenship, they just carry Nigerian ID card, and it doesn't allow you to get admission into places, doesn't allow you to get access to anything, any better thing that is coming. They say you are not indigenous, but you are a citizen. So what if the Southeasterners can push for the return to citizenship? And that matter came up in the last constitutional debate of 2014. It came up seriously, and the conference recommended that Nigeria should be treated with citizenship, not with indigenship. So you are either a Nigerian or not a Nigerian, not the Nigerian that will be a half Nigerian while he's still in Nigeria. Therefore, I'm asking, is it not in the interest of the Southeasterners to push for any amendment that will help, that will say recognize Nigerians as citizens, stop recognizing them as indigenous? So therefore, if you start a push that will destroy foreign access or access of economic access of others in your region, if you start the move and the threat to them, you are just encouraging others. Do to me also as I have done to you. Over the years in the past, all Nigerians have been shouting, no, do not stop killing of outsiders or non-Muslims. Stop it. I'm saying let's continue on that line of saying stop killing outsiders in your midst, whether those outsiders are in the north, in the west, or in the east. Because if you start the idea of kill outsiders or harm outsiders in your midst, the number of your own brothers and sisters that are outside may not be a funny revenge. So that's why access, because these other outsiders who are in the Southeast, I don't know how many houses Northerners built in Calabar. I don't know how many houses in River State, in Port Harcourt, built by Alhajis. I don't know how many houses that are built in Edo by outsiders, or in Enugu, or Aba, or where. What you will see will be shanties, and people who are very ready to sleep under shade and under 911 in the night. They are not sleeping there only for a week to say after 1 week I get a house. They are prepared to, it's their own nature, and they are okay by that. When they want to go, they collect small thing and enter the next available transport. But I was in the north. When I was returning, I came back with, I had a 911 trailer. Is it trailer or truck? 911. I went as a small boy. I came back with a wife. My mother-in-law was there. 4 children, brothers and sisters. We were a crowd when coming back. And in terms of property, 911 filled to the brim. Back to my place. I returned a lot because I returned in peacetime. So if it were Operation Find Your Way, half of that population would have perished on the road. Then property, forget it. Then I didn't build in the north, so I didn't even have to sell my house. So if those who have built mansions in the north, how do they run? At the beginning of this matter, IPOB said Easterners come back home. When you tell people to come back home, you are sending a signal. Even the Pharaoh who allowed the Jews to go for 3 days worship of their God, at a point he didn't want them to go without some marks. So it's not easy to allow outsiders to go in peace. So it is in your interest to say, even if the agitation were to, it should be a peaceful, even if Biafra will be a country. I wish they will be given a country. But even if it's so, it is in the interest of Biafrans to get a negotiated Biafra instead of a bloody Biafra.
So, sir, will you then say that the style they chose to prosecute this agitation is 40, it's more harmful to the people from that area than it would have been of a benefit?
I will answer it in two ways. People have asked me when I talk, they say, if you say they should not use violence, they should not do all these things, say what should they do? They have asked me that question. I'm scared of answering it. Do you know why I'm scared? There is a posting they have made here in the making of Nigeria. Let us say there were 3 prominent tribes, other tribes running under them. All the northerners run under Hausa, all the southerners, southeasterners run under Igbo, all the westerners run under Yoruba. Now we know that there are other tribes under them. But let's go with the tripod. At one point or the other, either the north or the west said no to one Nigeria, officially. I mean officially, no to one Nigeria. Only the east insisted on one Nigeria that time. Now, when the constitution now was finally to be made, to be the independent constitution, we saw a presentation where Awolowo argued brilliantly for the constitution then to contain exit clause. If you tire for Nigeria, let there be a process of exiting Nigeria. Awolowo, dressed as a lawyer, came and argued. After arguing, Azikiwe was to come and was opponent of that argument. We hear that when he came, he also argued brilliantly, eloquently, as a diplomat and a literary prowess. He argued to show why Nigeria should not, that the constitution should not have a referendum to go. And at the end, the parliament then passed, I think it was in London, they went to debate. At the end, the parliament passed that there will be no referendum and there will be no exit. As once you have come in to become a Christian marriage, you are forever until they to do you bad. That was the kind of constitution they gave us. And incidentally, I hear that it is my people that felt it was better that way. That let us enter into one Nigeria, build one Nigeria, keep to one Nigeria. So no referendum. So when they ask me, say, how then will these people go? I find it difficult to get a legal reason. Say, so except now that we are doing a constitutional review, I was thinking that our number one strategic step should be let that constitution now contain a referendum, an exit clause. If you get the exit clause into the constitution, that's step 1. 2, you activate the exit clause later. Not the other way around. Not getting pikin before getting a wife, but getting wife before looking for first son. That's 1. 2, to press in that constitutional makeup that citizenship should be more important than indigenship. If they get these 2 things, to me, it sounds bigger than a republic. Okay, now you now ask a question that is this agitation is not a threat to your access, or are there economic losses already being witnessed? Let me answer this way. Economic losses. So what is first of all your economic gain before you now see what are you losing? Well, the SOUT-EAST began by controlling the economy of Nigeria to an extent by contributing the palm oil economy. At the time, the North contributed the granite pyramid, and the West contributed cocoa, no oil. So the SOUT-EAST contributed palm oil and coal, and these 2 things were highly needed in Europe to power the British Industrial Revolution. So this railway was built to locate the seaport so that coal from the SOUT-EAST will go to Britain. So that palm oil and palm kernel will go. Plus timber. Remember that Liverpool had a very thriving shipping business, and wood was important, plus other things. Forget now that plastic is taken over from iron. Iron took over from wood. Wood was important. Remember that Lebanon contributed wood to the economic revolution of Israel. So it was an important contribution because wood gave rise to shipping. So it's not a small matter. So this region, this Southeast contributed heavily. Later, oil took over. When this oil took over, the Southeast economy, the food began to shift to be a northern supply. So agriculture came from the north, oil came from south. What was the Southeast contributing at that point? You could see their coal was no longer viable. Their palm oil was now second, but they even lost palm oil to Malaysia. So you don't produce palm oil to international level. You don't produce timber to international level. You are rather buying timber. You are buying palm oil. So those things and coal, you are no longer using coal. So they changed to thermal energy, from thermal energy, which is sourced by coal, to hydro energy. So the coal that was your pride lost. The palm oil that was your pride, you are now a buyer. The yam that you were wonderful in, you buy from another region. Grains, granite, when my mother wants to plant granite, you buy from another region. If I go to my interior village, I see the yam that my parents eat in the locality of my state. So I had been shouting 5 years ago, 4 years ago, that an economy, if the granite has to come from another region, the yam has to come from another region, rice has to come from another region, maize has to come from another region. I am saying that another region is occupying our stomach, and in the food security theory, when another country is controlling your stomach, when you quarrel, they will stop the supply of products. So now what I'm saying, so what is the Southeast contributing to the economy? Oil, the two map of Nigeria shows that your oil is no longer in your control. Palm oil, you know they produce again. Agricultural things, you are now a secondary producer instead of being a primary producer. You are no longer an oil power, nor are you an agricultural power. So they now participated in a new economy. The Southeast now migrated to a new economy. What is that economy? IT.
Okay.
They now migrated in IT, portfolio economy, buying and selling, commerce, heavy as a commerce. So the heaviest contribution of the Southeast now, having lost agriculture, having lost not being strong in oil, they migrated a new economy of buying and supplying. So buying and supplying is you are a middleman. Two persons, if a middleman, two persons are important. The real producer and the consumer. They are the middle. If consumer vex, you lose market. If producer vex, you lose market. So you are playing in a dangerous range. One. And then IT and whatever you use brain to do. So compete with Indians, the IT market, the computer village is in Lagos. Most of the brains in computer are abroad. So out of the professional service. So three things: commerce, IT, and professional services. Out of these three things, IT is abroad, professional services abroad. The only one that is indigent, that is still at home, is commerce, buying and selling. So now let's work that with that only one leg. Out of the three. This one that is at home relies on goods, relies on shipping, relies on shipping and ports to come in. So you now know the shipping will come either from Lagos, which will not be in Biafra, or some other ports that we don't know whether they will be in Biafra or not. So it means that only one leg of the economy that you control may not be in your control if you separate and get only the 5 states. So it may be in jeopardy. That's one angle of the loss, or the big loss, future loss, not now. But the immediate threat that we have now will be the destruction of assets outside your territory. Then, if I may reveal a thing that happened last week, I will show how 500 Chinese companies, somebody from the South here is coordinating the South and Southeast to become an economic bloc. And it's something I applaud a lot. The South and Southeast should form an economic bloc. They can form geopolitical division.
Viewer, we will go on a short break. And then we'll come back for Mr. Chukwu to round off this beautiful session that has been discussing the economic effect of this Biafra agitation. Please, we shall be right back after just a few minutes. Thank you. Nice to be back. I'm sure so far you've enjoyed our session. We will come later to our friends who have sent in comments and questions, but let me go on to our guest. You were saying a few things before we went on break.
Yes.
Could you please...
The economic cost.
Yes, of what is happening around this proposed Biafra area.
Yes, I am saying that the approach, when you use violence, you will lose friends faster than when you use the Biafran agitation has powerful the agitation has powerful argument, and this powerful argument, if you rely more on that argument than relying more on the strength of your opponent, the strength of your opponent is, or the federal government is ready to release the army on any violent agitation. So you have to check whether you are capable of matching that force. If you are not capable of matching that force, why not rely on where you have strength? And where you have strength is to articulate various reasons why this region should be angry. When you articulate it, you use it to prosecute your demand, so that you be the one pursuing them. Come now, let's talk. Because come, let's discuss. Come, let's talk. Look at. You turn up those points, and if they don't want to listen, international community, come and listen to our talk. The woman that is right is always looking for settlement of quarrel. The woman that is wrong is always looking for let's fight, so that there be no settlement. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that even as we talk, as we go about interviewing business gurus and investors, because my background is that of investment journalism, business journalism, we saw that a group just came back from China, where 500 Chinese investors are coming for partnership and exhibition of what they want to do in the South-East. Because first of all, this investment group tried to unite South-South and South-East into an investment bloc, and with that bloc, they now are trying to enter into partnerships with foreign countries, foreign investors, so that they can come here. Because as also in the South-South, there are also threats that are making businesses to run away. So based on this, these investors have agreed to come for a trade fair. On the day that the coordinator flew into Nigeria was the day the bad problem started. So while we were doing the interview, they started making calls to move their visit to Lagos instead of to Port Harcourt, where the Aba group would have joined the Port Harcourt group. Aba group, Onisha group, Nnewi group were to come to Port Harcourt and discuss with these people towards hosting an exhibition of various products, where partnerships will be formed between investors in the South-East and investors from Asia. They now choose locations and partnerships. So I was sad as I was there to interview the man on what he brought from his foreign trip, he stayed 1 month, only to hear about their calling that they want them to shift it to Lagos. The man was sad, I was sad. We say, can you see? But after he had gone abroad to go and paint a good picture of this zone, that upon his return, what welcomed him was violence. So, and those people are scared now. They are saying, they are suggesting Lagos or Ogun. But the man says he wants to meet some governors in this region to see how they can handle the matter and see whether they can create an atmosphere that will make them to come here. I am saying that nobody can show me any serious government project in that region, in the South. Anything that will drive the South-East, anything that will drive the South-East will be private investment. That's their strength. And any effort anything that will scare investors from that region is not helpful. Anything that will cause the one in the South-Easterners invested outside Igbo land, anything that will cause a direct threat to it is not helping the South-East. Anything that will also scare away the ones that are coming or the ones that are already there, that thing is not helpful to the economy of that region.
We've been getting comments from our viewers. But let me put this question to you, sir. This Biafra agitation, to some of us, it just came up like an explosion. But by the day, we see that even the elites, the intelligentsia from that area, the proposed Biafra area, in terms of the core 5 eastern states, seem to have been captured in this Biafra talk. I have spoken with professors, I have spoken with prominent people from that area. Only very few will tell you they don't need Biafra. So, what could have been responsible for this massive desire to have this Biafra? Is it a failed Nigeria? Is it a failed system? Or what is it? Before we round up.
We are saying that I began by saying that, first of all, I'm from that enclave regarded as Biafra. I also began by saying that I support an agitation and an articulation of our grievances. I support that. That's where I took off. I departed only on issues of how to prosecute it. So, the reasons why intellectuals, professionals are also angry and are in support of the Biafra project is because there are glaring examples, evidence of things that are deliberately done to skip that region. There are things that have been articulated, they have them in various pamphlets, examples, and it looks like over since the war ended, the South-Easterners, when they cry, their cry sounds sweet to the ears of those who are supposed to take action. It looks like when you come and say, our people are marginalized, so everybody will say, I beg, come on there, which kind of marginalization? So they have not got a listening ear in terms of reframing the constitution, in terms of giving equal opportunities, in terms of allowing people to struggle as one Nigeria. So the people from this area, even those intellectuals they are talking about, by the time they give examples of what they suffered in trying to succeed as intellectuals, by the time they give their own examples, personal experience, you will see why they find it difficult to have the fire of one Nigeria. So the people agitating, the intellectuals also suffer things, the political class is suffering something. The only problem with this agitation is that the agitation tries to exclude those other people that have grievances, try to exclude them in forming this platform. And that exclusion, for example, you will start from good morning to insult the Igbo political class. You insult the senators. You insult the intellectuals.
Who were insulting?
I mean the group that was agitating for Biafra.
Okay.
So this insult, when you are insulting the leaders, they will not say, this person is our enemy. Instead of them to embrace the group, they began to shy away because of massive insult. Once you do not agree with the way they are. Everybody agrees, almost every woman agrees that Igbos are cheated, Igbos are marginalized against, Igbos are so many things. Any day you want to marshal points or what they have done to Igbos that are wrong, that one takes another day. So if all of them agree, but the problem is when you want to say to present it, how do we ask that wrongs should be righted, or do we ask that we should go? And if we ask that we should go, how do we present our request for going, so that you can even have face-to-face talk with those people? Do you negotiate with somebody that you are shedding blood with? So the issue now becomes that those intellectuals who are supposed to support, if you read what is being posted around, you see massive insults on them.
Sorry sir, just as I've seen some here for you already.
Okay.
Coming in from some of our viewers, I suspect. One thing that seemed to be reoccurring in this Biafra agitation is this inability to use civil language. You were just talking on that, and I checked on the insults already here. So is this a benefit to them, or is it a negative to this agitation? Before we finally round up, sir.
This attitude drove away various people that should have embraced the struggle. So the attitude has embraced so much insult. Even this Niger Delta, the agitation began with a lot of pumping insult. So there's no way you can get Biafra without discussing with Yorubas, Hausa, Niger Delta. But if you begin by alienating them, then you alienate the Igbo intelligentsia, you alienate the professionals, alienate insult Ohaneze, insult all the governors. When you finish insulting all these people, you now believe that only those who carry knife and gun are those who are going to get the Biafra. And we are saying the first step of that method, that first step was taken last week. That other approach was taken last week. And what we're here discussing is that approach, is it destroying the economy of that region? And we are saying yes, there are tangible evidence that it is destroying, and it will destroy. Vehicles stopped plying the roads. Why I don't want to mention the critical areas would be, I don't want to willfully hand over business secrets that their enemies will use to hit them. So I am keeping clear of it. But when you box yourself in, and vehicles won't come in, and your own vehicles won't go out, and your people who are in important positions around the country, they are threatened, everybody is threatened. We have relations all over Nigeria. They are calling us, they are asking us what to do, they are afraid. Everybody has packed his load waiting. Is that helpful? So even if, and let me ask a question, if this agitation ends up being a fight in one room, you are like a husband and wife who fought in the husband's home. At the end of it, the wife will carry her property and go. The home of the man will be destroyed. So if this fight takes place in South-East, win or lose, those who will die will be the people of that area. Buildings that will be bombed will be that area. Now that Boko Haram is in Maiduguri, it did not destroy Kaduna, it didn't destroy Onitsha. All the ruination is in Maiduguri, and it will take them several decades to meet up with the other parts of the north. It is not fair.
Now, I have a comment here. It's like a question for you, sir.
Okay, I'm ready.
Then we round up. Ifeanyi Pasi, I hope I got that pronunciation right. Here is saying, you are talking of some Igbo states or proposed Biafra states not having oil. Then his question is, what of Niger cement? He said, what happened to it? Though it's not part of our Biafra discussion, but he would like to know what happened to
the cement factory. The cement factory, it was sold, but those who bought it did not reactivate it. Okay. Just like Dangote bought Benue cement and rebuilt it. The other ones bought and rebuilt. Those that bought Niger cement didn't rebuild it.
We have another Bate who said he responded to our argument about why it's been plenty of insults. His argument here is that the IPOB agitators insulted people because he said because they failed, these people they insulted failed them. So he didn't explain
how they failed.
Now finally, sir, what is the way forward? In this situation, in this scenario, what would you suggest or say is the way forward?
Okay, first of all, when it was time to bail Nnamdi Kanu, those people who supported him, who love his language, were not qualified by law to bail him. He still brought down to those he insulted. They were only people who are qualified to also bail him. So you see, head or tail, you cannot reject those people totally. You can still work with somebody you don't like very much. By conflict resolution allows you to negotiate and have partnership with which you win your battle. What matters that you win. We're not going into that because all over the world we have seen those who use violence to start and they ended up not using it to achieve. It also ends up being those who can talk and convince the opponent. If we start here to talk about how the things done against Igbos and what should be done, if we talk it, people also know that some of us can talk and defend the Igbos. It mustn't be gun that you use to defend the Igbos. Some of us can talk and we have facts and we have evidence that the Igbos have been thoroughly marginalized. And if that's the case, they have a say. Let me ask you a question. If they say there's a place, they don't decide Nigeria in the National Assembly. If they want to take a decision on Nigeria now to say let's share Nigerian money or let's share Nigeria, let everybody go, where will it be decided? At the National Council of States. Is there any woman that is there? No, National Council of States.
Why?
The appointment over the years, there's no the National Council of States. Who are they? It's not going to be the president and vice president, the head of the judiciary, head of the legislation, and few other presidents, the former presidents. So the former president, any former president from that region. So when the former presidents come from other regions, this is the highest decision-making body. When they finish talking, they go. Then the National Assembly will implement their own side. Executive will implement. That place where Nigeria is decided, I'm asking, is there anybody in the SOUT-EAST that will even be a minority, use one ear to listen? They don't have a former president, they don't have a current president, they don't have vice president, they don't have senior president, they don't have the head of judiciary, they don't have a head of it. So they're not qualified. It is when those people come out, you say, hey, waiting then talk. So what they are going to relate to the entire SOUT-EAST is waiting they talk. So what are you telling me? If they want us to argue about why the SOUT-EAST is angry, we can talk and show it. But that's not why we are here. What we are here is say that is this method being adopted? Is it going to help us or going to rather push us more? If my one leg is cut, is bleeding, you want to help me, you will now cut my remaining one leg. Say I lose two legs. I'll be asking you, is that help? That's my question. That's my question. And anybody who's against it should come, let's debate it. If this method of jeopardizing, destroying, ruining the incoming investment, outgoing investment, the one that people use their people use their blood to establish businesses all over the world. Is it by destroying them that will now make us proud? I will say, put it again for my generation, that me and my children say, it is not wise to destroy them. They too will use our blood to achieve. We destroy it. We can win many things if we use our head. Don't use your hand, use your head. And this is a tribe that has a head. Let us use this head.
Thank you, viewer, for all of you whose comments we could not take on air. We still appreciate you have watched. I'm sure you've enjoyed this discussion. And for us here, we listening to Mr. Chukwu, it's obvious that yes, the Biafra agitation is welcome, but the form of the agitation is not acceptable, because at the end, the people who are from the area propose as Biafra, even though there's contention. Some of them include some states outside they call South-Eastern states. Whatever you may have watched from, we are grateful you did. I'm sure some other time Mr. Chukwu will be here. Like I said at the beginning, he is a seasoned business editor and market analyst. But today, we centered on the economic losses that states within the core Biafra, and including Rivers State, because there's a link between what happens in Abia and what happens in Port Harcourt. But we do hope that some other time we'll be here. Thanks to everyone who watched, who sent in their comments. I couldn't take all of them. As usual, some of them were insulting, some of them were were questions, some of them were personal opinions. Keep on watching us. But before we sign out finally, I would like to ask Mr. Chukwu final note. do you see peace returning, economic peace returning to this region, these states, in the next 1 or 2 weeks? Do you?
I don't want to say what I think because I don't want to give anybody tips.
Okay.
We pray that peace returns. We pray that the prescription of IPOB becomes the final word on that. But the truth remains that those injustices that led to formation of IPOB and led to the agitation, those injustices, unless they are addressed, they will always rear their heads up in one name or the other.
Yes, you've heard it from him. Let me say thank you, a big thank you to the team that made this program possible. We have hidden hands who made it possible. I have 2 pretty ladies here who also were part of the team. I won't give you their names, but thanks to every member of this team. You only saw 2 faces, my face and Mr. Tuku's face. But there are several other hidden faces that made this program possible. Thanks for watching. We remain your favorite, the Neighborhood TV. We are here in Port Harcourt. Send in your comments, send us in your videos. Always watch us on Facebook Live, the Neighborhood Newspaper Facebook page. Watch us on GNTVonline.com. Go to our YouTube channel, the Neighborhood TV. You can also hashtag, like today's program, hashtag Economy Today, TNTV. And you'll find, as we go on, you'll find beautiful, beautiful videos for your delight. On a final note, Mr. Tuku, it's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Even though
Deke.
your schedule today was heavy. And the note I got from you, by error, I must say by error, frightened me. Some persons not feeling too strong, but you managed to be here. We're most grateful to you.
Thank you very much.
Finally, our viewer will say, whatever you watched us from, keep watching and do have a pleasant day. Bye from us here in Port Harcourt.